It's all about to go a bit Ave because I recently got this stopcock to put in, and in the end, instead of putting the stopcock in, I put a simple service valve in, just because it was better suited to the location. And I decided, let's take a look at this one because it's quite nicely made. It's quite, I mean, it's so mass produced. It's a really cheap item. It's only about £5 for something like this. But you can see that it's been cast and then they've machined it in quite a complex way to actually create, well, the whole assembly. But it is mass produced and that's why it's so cheap for the amount of work. I know from previous experience when I did the sprinkler video, it went down a storm. People really like the sprinkler videos. It makes me wonder how many people bought fire sprinkler heads from China just to actually have as ornaments in their house. I should also mention, when I made that video, one of the reasons I found the sprinklers in the first place was because I was looking for a pair of Carhartt's overalls at the time, a specific type, and found out that plumbers, heating engineers, elevator mechanics and sprinkler fitters wear that particular type of Carhartt overall because it's got quite a heavy pouch built on, it's like a tool belt, but it won't slip down because it's part of the overall. And after that video, someone called Paul from Bricks Workwear said he'd like to sponsor me a pair of overalls for the channel. He didn't, when I say sponsor, it was just a gift. He didn't ask for a link to his website, but I'm going to give him a link in the description down below because it's a workwear shop in Monaghan in Ireland, and I'd like to give a link to his shop because I do appreciate that he sent me a pair of Carhartt's overalls. Very nice, much appreciated. So getting onto this subject here of this now, if you're a plumber, if you're a heating engineer or a facilities management operative, then you'll know quite a lot about these already. But have you ever really stripped one of these to bits and appreciated what's actually involved in making it? That's what we're going to be taking a look at because it's quite nice. And these are only about, in the UK, they're about £5 each as standard. And you think there's a lot of work in that. I mean, it's mass produced, but there is quite a lot of work in making this. Not just casting the brass-like material. I say brass-like material. I don't know if this is solid brass or it's an alloy. I'm not sure if brass is an expensive material these days. But anyway, let's take a look at this. So let's start with the copper pipe. In the UK we have 15mm and 22mm copper pipe, and usually to cut it, this one's a grubby used bit of copper pipe from recent works. To cut it, you get these really handy pipe cutters that you slot over the pipe and then you rotate it several times. This is just such a clever design, and even in a restricted location you can then cut a nice clean end. You can cut anywhere in the pipe. It's quite a smart thing. The pipe goes into the end of the stopcock, but this is a compression fitting. Easier than the soda fitting. Well, not that easier than the soda fitting, but more convenient and less likely to set your house on fire. So what actually happens with this, you've got the outer sort of nut, the sort of, what is that really called a nut? Because it's let's say the compression bit. That's not a very good description. I would say nut because it kind of is a nut, but it's also designed, it's part of the system that compresses the olive. The olive is this little copper, or sometimes another alloy, that goes on over the pipe, and it's a loose fit, and then this goes in here. And when you tighten up, because this is slightly chamfered edges, it's tapered edges, and because this also has a tapered cone, as you tighten it up, it progressively deforms that little copper olive and grips the pipe. I'm not going to actually tighten this up because that would kind of ruin it, but actually even just tightening it up by hand pressure, it has started gripping it. And when you tighten up enough, it grips in tight enough that it forms a completely watertight seal. And it's quite important to note, if you clean off the end, I use a very light sandpaper, but only rotate it round like that. Don't scrub backwards and forwards, because if you do, you're creating lots of little lines that the water could theoretically just ooze through. And even if it does start oozing through, usually after a while, they kind of like, it all sort of, the copper forms and just merges a bit and with the olive, and it does seal, but it just means that's going to happen a lot faster. My preferred way of terminating pipes and stuff like that. So that's let's get them off. Just out of interest, what's in this one? Is it? Yeah, it is a copper one. Same arrangement. It's also worth mentioning that all these taps and service valves have a direction of flow of the water. In this case, it's through from this direction. That's because the whole mechanism that's assembled is then crimped in from this end. You can actually see it if we look up the end of this. Let's shine a light up the end of it. And you can see the sort of mechanism that's been physically pushed in and latched. And I guess that the reason that they base it on that is because the other side is the solid wall that the whole assembly is pressing against, and it's going to be stronger that way. With this type of outlet, the water is actually coming in, and then it's going up, and there's a washer being pressed down on top of it that lets it through. So to actually, when you actually screw this down completely, it seals any water further water coming in, hopefully, and also that means that the seal for the actual rotating tap shaft isn't that critical. It's not under pressure, although when the valve is open, that is under pressure. Technically speaking, I've never had to do this. You could change the seal in that without turning the water off. Not really sure about that. We'll find out when I open it up. So always observe the direction of the arrow in these taps. It's quite important. So, yes, a very simple thing. Now, here's an interesting thing. As I'm screwing this in and out, I noticed that there's graphite-y, slidey stuff here. I'm not sure. Is that some self-lubricating seal in there? Or is it just a graphite lubricant that's been used on a rubber seal? We'll find out when we open it up. So let's start opening it up. So here comes the spanner that is not up to Aves standards. So, where is a screwdriver? There's a screwdriver. Let's get the tap off for a start. The tap doesn't always come off that easily in these. The top bit, sometimes it's wedged on, sometimes it's kind of crimped on. Ew. Black deposity type stuff. Next comes the shaft seal, which this comes off, and there is a compressible shaft in there. It's an outer thing, but it doesn't look, I mean, is it hard? Where's something to poke it with? It is, it's almost like a hard graphite-y substance. I've not seen that before. Okay. Then, to go further, and this I actually took this apart earlier because I had to loosen it off because this was solid. But it might be solid again. This bit comes off, revealing the actual washer that stops the flow of the liquid. And also another little sealing washer here. This is almost like it's very thin. It's almost like PTFE type of sort of ring that goes onto that. I'm used to seeing much bigger, heavier washers than that. This, I think you can change the washer in these. Yes, you can, by peeling it off and then just basically putting another one on like that. And when you press that into it, let's just press it actually into this just to see if it will go in. Yeah, it's pushed it back on. One thing I've not worked out yet is how this stays in. This shaft is kind of loose, probably so it can sort of self-level, but I'm not sure. What holds that in? Odd. No, I don't know how they've actually crimped that into that. So when you turn the tap, an inner thread actually winds that washer up and down. Technically speaking, I'd wind it right out right now. Let's do that. I'm not sure if this is how you're supposed to do it, but I'm going to do it this way. Oh, it has. It's wound right out. Oh, and it's come right out. Okay, what is that? That's got me intrigued. It's almost like a mica-ish effect, but also a graphite. I've always thought that was just a rubber washer. Maybe the graphite is going to be a better solution. I don't think that's going to come out. I think it may just be a self-sealing. It's a very powdery, and as I'm pushing that in and out, it's actually flaking. So that does appear to be a graphite insert. That's weird. I've never seen that before. Okay. So the way this is made, they've bored in from this end. Hold on, where's a pen so I can shove it in like I'm drilling it? And they've bored in below that area there, where the sort of the valve seat is. And I can actually see I've just actually knocked it off a small shred of metal, meaning they've bored in that way first, and then they've drilled down that way. And I was wondering, how did they get the angled bit in here? And the answer is that they've bored in that way again, but then from outside they've bored down an angle and created the other channel. So it's all just machined just in basically straight lines. It's very neat. It's really clean inside apart from that slight rag. And you just wonder, what's the factory like that makes these? It must just be is it totally automated or is it manual machining? I'm guessing it is largely automated. And the way it's drilled in from this side, the cone of the end of the drill, you can see a slight taper where it's drilled in, is just the other side of that. But it actually looks at a modest little gap before they'd meet. So when the water's come in, it's trying to get up through this hole here, but the tap presses down in that to stop it, the water coming out. But when you open the tap, it winds this up and allows the water to then flow down that channel and out this port. And this odd graphite water, anybody have any ideas about that? Because I really was expecting a standard rubber washer with a metal washer on top, like a standard cable stuffing gland. But it just does appear to be this sort of graphite material that I'm guessing maybe as it wears down, as you apply more pressure, because if you've got a slight leak on these, if you tighten this, sometimes you open these taps and then it just oozes out the top here. If you tighten this down within moderation, it will usually seal that. But you also have to make sure the shafts are fairly clean, because otherwise, if it's all painty and if it's all corroded, it can actually give a channel for the water to flow through. But it looks like the graphite would basically just form onto almost any surface there. It does limit the number of times you could probably use that and tighten it down. Not really sure. But what about this thing? How have they done this? Is there a channel all the way through this? The only way to find out is to actually poke a drill in. Oh, one moment, please. I'll just grab a drill. Is that drilled all the... No, it's not. It's not all the way down. So how have they done that? How have they made that bit stay in there? Because I was trying to get it out earlier on, I couldn't. So how have they actually pressed that in? And the only thing I can think of, maybe it's shaped in the end so that when it was pushed in, it was punched in, and that kind of flanged itself in the back. But that would mean a sort of re-entrant shape in there. That's odd. I'm not sure how they did that. I'm not even seeing anything. It looks like a wee pin going from the side to actually trap that in. That's intriguing. If you know what they've done there, that would be quite interesting to know. They do have tools that can actually go in and then just cut out a ledge, but I'm just wondering how they flared that out, because that does appear to be bottoming out before it even reaches the back. So I'm not sure what they've done there. Bit of cleverness going on. So the bits that can be changed in this, normally that washer would have been able to be changed, but you can certainly put a new washer on this bit, and you can certainly put the new rubber washer, because they gradually, over time, they sort of get a wee bit hard. But to replace this washer, you would have to turn water off downstream of the, upstream, is it? No, upstream. Yes, technically speaking, it would be upstream. The source of the water you'd have to turn off, because just removing this would be very, very wet indeed. Which reminds me of the time Ralph tried to change a tap washer without turning the water off in a very high pressure water supply in a Glasgow flat, and told me he had a bucket over the top and just couldn't get it to go back on. That sounds exciting. Fortunately, I did manage to get it on the end, back on in the end. But yeah, interesting stuff. So all useful little tools and an interestingly machined piece of metalwork. Okay, I've sussed it out and it's very, very clever. I managed to get this out, and the way I did that, I gently gripped it with the pliers and then wound the tap out so that it bottomed out on the end of the pliers, and it forcibly pulled that, it extracted it. And initially I thought, oh, that's quite clever. It's just sort of a fancy taper that just basically allows you just barely get it in, but then just with the natural malleability of the metal, it just holds it in. But it was wrong, because I was thinking that must have been, that must have involved super accurate machining, but it's not that. When you put this in, if you look at the bottom of this, you'll see there's a little taper in here. There's a little, not a taper, but a little groove in here. And this hole here is deeper. Where's a screwdriver? It's deeper. It goes right up to about there. And that's deeper than this. So this will not ever get anywhere near the end. But what happens when you put it together? I discovered this because I got this out. I thought maybe it is just a friction fit type thing. And I put it back in the tap and it re-crimped itself. It just wouldn't come back out again. And what happens is the end of this is slightly tapered. And when you actually put this in loose and then put it into the tap, or I guess in the factory they could press it, it presses the end of the slight taper against the brass here, and it folds the end in very tiny little bit. And there's that groove in there, then traps that. So basically speaking, if I put this in now, it will double crimp. When I put it back into the tap and screw it down, it's already got it quite tightly, but it will crimp that in a little bit. And that doesn't just hold it in and stop it falling out, but it means that the end is able to accommodate a slight angle, and also it can rotate. So when it goes down against the tap, the bed of the tap, the rubber can stop against that. It doesn't have to skid round. And as you turn the tap down, it will just push against that, and it will rotate in the small pivot at the end here with that slight allowance. It's very, very clever. That is very neat indeed.